This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to the Roundup. Today, we're diving into the biggest headlines in sports, from legendary media reunions to massive changes in college basketball and the latest from the NBA playoffs. Let's get started.
Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless reunite on First Take.
We revisit the most heated debates between the iconic duo.
A'ja Wilson's new contract sets a WNBA market record.
March Madness expands to 76 teams starting next season.
JJ Redick slams officials over LeBron James's whistle treatment.
The Lakers fall into a 2-0 hole against Oklahoma City.
Thunder Stars dominate as the Lakers struggle without Doncic.
Lionel Messi reveals his retirement plans after a Miami visit.
First, the big reunion. It is the moment sports media fans have been waiting for since 2016. Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless are finally sharing the First Take desk again. This special edition of the show marks the first time these two have been in the same studio in a decade. It is a fascinating dynamic because so much has changed since Skip left for Fox Sports. Stephen A. has become the undisputed face of ESPN, while Skip recently stepped away from the spotlight after leaving FS1. Despite the time apart, the anticipation is sky high. They both started as newspaper columnists, and that grit defined their era of debate. Seeing them back at the pulpit they built together is a true television spectacle.
The energy is definitely different now that Stephen A. is the big draw at the network. When they were together originally, it felt like a battle of equals, but now the power dynamic has shifted. Still, the sporting news is tracking every highlight because these two are known for zany remarks and unpredictable chemistry. The broadcast on ESPN2 is expected to be one of the most watched episodes in years. It is interesting to see how time heals wounds, or if the old friction will immediately spark back up. With Shea Cornette co-hosting, the structure might be a bit more controlled, but with Skip and Stephen A., you never really know what direction the conversation will take once the cameras start rolling.
Looking back at history, to understand why this reunion is such a big deal, you have to look back at their most heated moments. One of the most legendary was the LeBron versus Jordan debate in 2011. Skip famously claimed LeBron wasn't a winner or a leader, which sent Stephen A. into a tailspin of disbelief. Then there was the 2013 incident where Skip questioned Aaron Rodgers' integrity regarding the Ryan Braun steroid scandal. Stephen A. literally stood up out of his chair and asked Skip if he was on drugs. These weren't just sports takes. They were cultural moments that defined how we talk about athletes. Their ability to turn a simple box score into a high-stakes moral argument is what made them an unmatched duo.
They even took their arguments to the floor of the NBA Finals, yelling at each other in the middle of the arena. It is wild to think they have only spoken once in the last year and a half before this reunion. That distance makes this guest appearance even more significant. Whether they were arguing about the Cowboys or Kevin Durant, the passion was always genuine. Even when Skip tried to discredit Scottie Pippen as a top 50 player, the sheer outrage from Stephen A. was pure entertainment. This history of conflict is exactly why fans are tuning in today. They want to see if that old spark is still there, or if they have mellowed out with age and their respective career shifts.
Now, to the WNBA. A'ja Wilson is making history off the court with a massive new contract that signals a new era for the WNBA. Under the new collective bargaining agreement signed in March, Wilson will earn a maximum of $1.4 million in 2026. To put that in perspective, she only made $200,000 in 2025. That is a staggering seven-fold increase in her annual earnings. Wilson is tied with Nafisa Collier and Kelsey Mitchell as the first players to hit this new ceiling. It is a well-deserved payday for a three-time champion and four-time MVP. This deal doesn't just reward her past success, it sets a completely new market for every superstar in the league moving forward.
The financial jump is truly incredible when you look at the numbers. In 2025, Wilson's salary was only the 22nd highest in the league. Now, she is at the very top. The new CBA has completely reshaped the league's economic landscape. By 2028, her earnings are projected to climb even higher, to nearly $2 million. This is a huge step for player compensation, especially considering the team's salary cap was only $1.5 million just last season. Now, individual stars can make nearly that much on their own. It shows the league's growth and the increasing value of its top talent. Wilson is leading the charge both as a player and as a symbol of the league's rising financial status.
Moving to college hoops, March Madness is getting a major makeover with the announcement that both the men's and women's tournaments will expand to 76 teams next season. This adds 8 more teams and 8 more games to the schedule. The current first 4 will be rebranded as the March Madness opening round, featuring 12 games to determine who moves into the main 64-team bracket. This expansion is largely fueled by a $300 million funding boost from new alcohol sponsorships. For the first time, the NCAA is opening up advertising for beer, wine, and spirits to make the math work. It is a significant shift in policy that reflects the modern commercial realities of college sports and the constant demand for more content.
While this provides more opportunities for mid-major Cinderellas, critics like UConn's Gino Auriemma are calling it a blatant money grab for the Power Four conferences. The number of at-large bids is jumping from 37 to 44, and most of those spots will likely go to middle-of-the-pack teams from the biggest leagues. We have already seen the SEC and Big Ten dominate the entries, and this expansion only solidifies that trend. However, the NCAA is promising to distribute over $131 million of this new revenue back to the schools. It is a massive logistical undertaking that will result in 120 games over just 7 days. It will certainly be a marathon for fans, but the financial incentives were clearly too big to ignore.
Next, the Lakers' frustration. Lakers head coach J.J. Redick did not hold back after their Game 2 loss to the Thunder. He specifically targeted the officiating, claiming LeBron James gets the worst whistle of any star player he has ever seen. Redick argued that because LeBron is so physically strong, he doesn't get the same calls as smaller, more theatrical players who can sell contact. He mentioned that LeBron gets hit on the head frequently during drives, without any intervention from the refs. This frustration boiled over on the court as well, with Austin Reeves leading a post-game confrontation with the officials. It is rare to see a team this vocal about officiating so early in a series, but the Lakers clearly feel they are being disadvantaged by their own physicality.
The numbers from the game do show a slight discrepancy, with the Thunder shooting 26 free throws compared to the Lakers' 21. Redick was particularly annoyed by what he called touch fouls given to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, while his own players were getting clobbered on entry passes. Despite the heated comments, Redick did admit that the refs weren't the sole reason for the loss, acknowledging that Oklahoma City simply outplayed them in key moments. LeBron himself was caught on camera shouting at the crew chief during the game, though he later shrugged off Redick's comments in the locker room. It creates a tense atmosphere heading into Game 3, as the Lakers are trying to navigate both a tough opponent and what they perceive as unfair officiating.
On to the game. The actual play on the court was just as damaging for the Lakers as the officiating. They fell 125 to 100, leaving them in a dangerous 0-2 hole. The biggest issue was self-inflicted wounds, specifically 21 turnovers that led to 26 points for the Thunder. Even with Austin Reeves putting up a playoff career-high 31 points, the Lakers couldn't overcome their mistakes. They allowed 17 second-chance points, which completely neutralized their solid half-court defense. LeBron James contributed 23 points, but it wasn't enough to stop the Thunder's momentum. Historically, teams that take a 2-0 lead with home court advantage win the series over 90% of the time, so the Lakers are facing a massive uphill battle as they head home.
It is frustrating for the Lakers because they actually shot 50% from the field and nearly 38% from three. Usually, those numbers would lead to a win, but the turnovers and lack of poise during Thunder runs were their undoing. Luke Kennard noted that the team needs to stay more controlled when Oklahoma City starts to turn up the physicality. The Thunder are incredibly good at exploiting matchups, and they did exactly that in the second half. The Lakers played well in spurts, but as LeBron noted, they couldn't execute for the full 48 minutes. Now they have to find a way to protect their home court in Game 3 or risk a quick exit from the Western Conference semifinals.
More on the Thunder. The Thunder's victory was a total team effort, led by Chet Holmgren and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who each scored 22 points. What was most impressive was how the Thunder responded when Gilgeous-Alexander had to sit out due to foul trouble in the third quarter. At that point, the Lakers actually held a small lead, but Oklahoma City went on a 32-15 run without their primary star. Jay Mitchell and Jared McCain stepped up big time, combining for 38 points off the bench. The defending champions are now 6-0 in the playoffs, showing a level of depth and resilience that is hard to beat. They managed to pull away in the fourth quarter, even after the Lakers cut the lead to 5.
The Lakers were clearly hampered by the absence of Luka Doncic and Jared Vanderbilt, which limited their defensive options and scoring punch. Having 3 players finish with 5 fouls also made them less aggressive when the game was on the line. Meanwhile, the Thunder looked completely in control. Holmgren was a force on both ends, adding 9 rebounds and 4 steals to his scoring output. The turning point was really that third-quarter surge where Jalen Williams hit a crucial 4-point play. It silenced the Lakers' momentum and gave the Thunder a double-digit lead they never relinquished. As the series shifts to Los Angeles, the Thunder have all the confidence in the world, while the Lakers are searching for answers to stop this balanced attack.
Finally, a Messi update. Lionel Messi isn't planning on retiring anytime soon, according to former Italy star Antonio Cassano. After a private meeting at Inter Miami's training base, Cassano revealed that Messi believes he has 3 or 4 more years left in the tank. This would mean the Argentine legend could keep playing until he is 41 years old. Messi told Cassano that his motivation comes purely from his love and passion for the game, rather than a desire for individual rankings or validation. Even as he approaches his 39th birthday, he feels energized by the environment in Miami. This is fantastic news for MLS fans, and potentially for the Argentine national team, as they look toward the 2026 World Cup on North American soil.
Cassano was apparently starstruck by Messi during their nearly 2-hour conversation, despite his own high-profile career. He described Messi as incredibly humble, dismissing any talk of being the greatest of all time by saying it makes no difference to him whether he is ranked 1st or 15th. Messi's current contract with Inter Miami runs through the end of 2028, which aligns perfectly with this new timeline. It seems he is genuinely enjoying his time in the United States and isn't feeling the physical toll that many expected at this stage of his career. If he stays healthy, we could be watching the GOAT compete at a high level for several more seasons, which is a win for soccer fans everywhere.
That wraps up our sports roundup for today. Thanks for joining us for these top stories. Be sure to follow the show for your next daily briefing and stay updated on everything in sports.